What's up, people? Welcome to the Health is Wealth podcast. Today's episode is all about addiction habits to fitness habits. What's up, people? Welcome to the Health is Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Jason Shively, and today's guest, while Bobby Jax is out of town, is Corey Feigin. I messed it up again, Corey, but we're going to keep going with this. Okay, Corey's on the show because he's gotten some awesome fitness results over the past year, and we're going to talk about his background because he's on a hurry. He's got to sneak over to Victoria's Secret real quick to drop off some panties, right?
Bras
and panties. He's dropping off balls, so he's probably picking up some panties. And we won't say for who or why and when. Okay? All right, man. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for being on the show. I'm glad you're here to share what you got to share with us today. And another Florida boy here. Born and raised in Florida, right?
Born and raised.
Yeah? What part of Florida?
I was born in North Miami, but I lived in the Tri-County. I lived in Miami, Dade County. I lived in Broward County, West Palm Beach County. I even lived in Gainesville up north for about a year.
Dang. What was the most fun part about living in Miami? Were you too young to know? Or
Nope. I have a lot of memory of it. In fact, I moved in with my uncle when I was 15 for my freshman year of high school. I lived right there off of 51st and Collins. And I went to Miami Beach Senior High, which was right next to South Beach.
Yeah.
And I would take the city bus to go to school. And I was right in the heart of all of it back in 1997, 98.
The real pit bull is in front of us today. All right. Is that what you're telling me? The real pit bull. If you're listening to the audio, this guy looks like Mr. Clean. He's always clean shaven. He's got that nice shiny forehead. It's just perfect. It's just Mr. Clean or pit bull here. And when he's outside, he's got the cool ass shades going on all the time too and stuff during our workouts. We know each other from your girlfriend, Kristen, and yourself working out with me through the pandemic a little bit.
Yes.
That's how we know. And then I'm excited for you to share some of your past. You're going to open up and share some of your background from addiction issues to the transformation of what you've done with your body in a short period of time too, and that's what's impressive, and that's what I want you to share today. So Miami, born and raised in Florida, Miami high school days. Man, I can only imagine coming me from Ohio boy in the cornfields, and then you're living the high school world right in South Beach.
Oh, yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it was really fun. And at the time, I was living with my uncle who owned one of the biggest hair salons in South Beach at the time. So, I mean, I used to see a lot of celebrities in and out, celebrities that weren't even celebrities yet until later on. And I saw everything. I saw drug use. I saw everything. And, you know, it was cool. I had a lot of cool friends. The one thing that was really weird about it was, you know, I didn't come from a high-class family at all as far as money. And I was going to school with some rich kids. I mean, I had a friend at the time was 15, and he had a $70,000 watch. And this was back in the 90s. You know, so I mean, yeah. I've seen it all.
We're the same age, so I get the time that you're growing up. I mean, you're what? You're 38, right?
Yeah, I'm 38.
Yeah, 38, same age, and totally different life experiences when it comes to high school and stuff. Did you play sports growing up?
I always played sports. As far as, you know, I was never on a team. I tried out for the basketball team. I didn't make it, but I was always playing basketball before and after school, always.
Yeah. So what were you into outside of just shooting the hoops throughout your high school years? What else got you besides chasing the Latin women everywhere?
Well, what I really liked, you know, I love music. I love listening to music. It was really all about basketball and doing well in school, especially in high school. When I transferred schools and I ended up moving to Broward County, I would go to what we have called a Jewish Community Center with indoor basketball hoops, and I would go there all the time and just play basketball. It was always about doing as well as I could in school and playing basketball. I mean, that's really all I did through high school until later on.
So after you get through high school, what's the next step after high school?
Well, right after high school, When I was a junior in high school, I got with a girl who I fell head over heels for, and she was doing the right thing by taking her SATs, taking her ACTs, and enrolling in college. All my friends were getting accepted to colleges, at the end of our junior year.
Yeah.
I had nowhere to go. So right after high school, I joined the United States Air Force.
Okay, shoot. Okay, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
And so what's your experience through the Air Force?
I really didn't have too much experience, and you're going to understand why when I go on with the podcast. I ended up getting a medical discharge for medical reasons up in the head, personality disorder, which I found out later on through life that having some acceptance now that it was the disease of addiction that I was acting out way before I started taking the drugs.
Yeah. So let's dive into some of that. You say that the past and you've learned from those things as we mature in age in life, as most of us do. Where does some of that come from?
Well, here's the thing. I come from a place where I've learned, and we talk about that, like the disease of addiction, and we call it a disease because it's incurable, it's progressive, and it's fatal. And that's why we call it a disease. And in the beginning, when I heard the word disease, I was like, what are these people talking about? It's drugs or not doing drugs. It's drinking or not drinking. It's not a disease. But I've learned through educating myself that it is a disease. And I know today that I had it way before I took my first drug because I always felt out of place. I always felt different. Growing up, I remember being in the 5th grade and not feeling a part of, and just putting in my headphones and listening to music just to escape because I didn't know what drugs were at the time. I was looking for an escape.
Oh, so at the time. So you're looking back, you can realize that you were looking for an escape at 5th grade, and music was that at the time.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about I would just go off into space with headphones on.
No, yeah. That was back in the CD player days.
Walkman cassette, Sony Walkman. Yellow one.
The yellow one with the black and yellow headset.
Yeah, sport.
Yeah, of course. And you probably had your fanny pack on too at the same time, knowing you, because you're all stylish all the time nowadays.
Yeah.
So realizing, looking back and from 5th grade, knowing that you were a little different then, and just didn't fit in, where does that lead to when you're out of high school? Air Force has dismissed you. And then where to now?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I remember I was 15 years old. I haven't done any substance before. And I remember I was at a party in Miami. It was a house party. And there was something called a screwdriver, which is basically orange juice and vodka. And somebody told me to take a sip. I took a sip and I thought it was disgusting. And I didn't touch it. I didn't touch alcohol until I was 21. But at the age of 16, I wanted to be the cool kid. All my friends were smoking marijuana. I wanted to smoke marijuana because I wanted to fit in. And I started smoking marijuana at 16. That lasted a year because my dad basically found it in my bedroom and said, listen, I don't care if you're smoking weed, but if you're going to smoke it, you're going to smoke it with me. And I didn't want to smoke weed with my father, so I never touched it after that. And I stopped using substances entirely until I was 21. I went into the military. It didn't work out for me. It just didn't. Mm-hmm. And I was acting out, and I know today it was because I didn't have any substances to calm me down. They booted me out. I did 11 months. I'm still considered a veteran. I got an honorable discharge for medical reasons. And then when I got out, I really had no sense of purpose in my head. I didn't know what to do because my goal was to be in the Air Force. Now I'm home and all my friends are in college. They're doing stuff with their lives. And I moved back home with daddy.
Yeah, that's hard because even at that young age in high school, we don't know what we don't know at the time. And we could say that even at our age now. But once you committed to going to college or or whatever your career was after, and you putting all that effort into the military, and then getting shut down. It's heartbreaking for anyone.
Oh yeah.
To just and then moving back. I mean, you're what, 18, almost 20 years old probably at the time, right?
I was 19 years. No, I was 20 years old at the time because I graduated high school at the age of 19. And so this happened when I was 20, and I'll never forget my father picking me up at the Greyhound bus station.
Yeah.
And he had this look of disgust, like, you let me down. Like, what am I going to tell my friends?
Yeah.
And I could see it on my dad's face, and I just remember crying on the way home.
But it wasn't your fault. You didn't know. You didn't understand. It was, I mean, this was testing going on. And what, that's what, 2000, 2001?
2002, 2000. Yep.
So with my experience at that same age, the military was getting a little bit more stricter on who they were just letting in. Because in 2000, 2001, 9/11 was happening. And they were taking anyone they could that wanted to volunteer, and then all of a sudden they hold it off and cut back immediately. And you're part of that group that was a little bit cut back, and okay, protocol's got to be back in place.
And you know what? I tried fighting it with JAG. I had attorneys. I mean, I really want to stay in.
Yeah.
But it didn't work that way. And today, like, I'm happy it didn't work out because it got me where I am today.
Yeah.
But back then, I mean, I was crushed. I was so crushed and so devastated. Like, again, I said, I came home. My friends are at UF. They're at UCF. They're in colleges. And Corey's back home. And it just crushed me. It really, really crushed me. I had no sense of purpose, so to say, to where I was sleeping in until I was eventually able to find a job.
Yeah. And how long did that take?
That took about 3 months. I'll never forget. I was in an American Online chat room, and I posted that I was depressed. And somebody said, "Where do you live?" And I go, at the time I was living in Hollywood. He's like, "Really? I live in Hollywood. You need a job? I'll hire you." And I ended up becoming a cook, and I did pretty well really quick right away with that job. But that was the job that introduced me to my love, which was alcohol.
Yeah. And was it the aftermath of when the restaurants are all done and just everyone gathers? Is that how it started?
Yeah, well, basically, it wasn't really a restaurant. It was a school for people in the Coast Guard.
Okay.
But it was the same mentality. I would get there at 6 o'clock in the morning and leave at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was game on. And I'll never forget, I had just turned 21. And the head chef bought me a 12-pack of Budweiser in a can. And he says, "See how many you can drink tonight, but you better show up to work tomorrow."
That was the encouragement. That was how it all started. Just, okay, see if you can finish this off, but be here at work.
Yeah, that's exactly. And then I remember drinking 1.5 of them, and I didn't even like it.
Yeah.
And then the next day, that's when the monkey grabbed me and said, "It's game on now."
Okay. So from that point, you're still cooking for how long? Do you build up your career there?
I stayed at that job for about 14 months, which was a long time for me back then.
Yeah.
And then, like, my addiction got really worse. I was getting really, really drunk to where they had to fire me.
Oh, so you got fired because of the addiction?
Yes, that's correct.
But was it just from 2 o'clock on, just casual drinking, or was it?
No, it slowly started. I mean, it slowly started. At the time I was living in Davie, and there was a country western nightclub that was walking distance from me. And, I might have had 1 or 2 beers, during the work week, but like the weekends, I would go walk down to the country club. I would start drinking at about 10 p.m., come home at 4 a.m., and it slowly started progressing, and I was just a weekend warrior.
Yeah.
And I stayed a weekend warrior for many years.
Yeah. So so you move on from that job.
Right.
And then, and what's the next opportunity?
Well, the next opportunity for that, and I told you, so my father has a detective agency here in Florida.
Yeah.
And I'm also a licensed private investigator. And my father basically took me under his wing. He saw that I was like this lost puppy that got booted out of the military, that got fired from a job for being drunk. And he basically said, you're going to come work for me because I don't see you having any direction in your life. So I started working for my father.
Okay, so how's that experience? I mean, I'm sure you got stories that you can't tell us, and you got stories. I don't know. You got to tell at least one story with the undercover stuff, because you only see those hidden camera type stories in Cheaters, those type of episodes and stuff. But the little nuggets that you've shared me off the show was there's some creepy and some intense moments for you guys in that business.
Oh yeah, especially back then, because cell phones weren't that popular, as being smartphones. Back then it was flip phones and quick dial phones, because we're talking about 2003, 2004. Yeah. So, I mean, the technology wasn't really there to where today you can be like, okay, I'm just going to GPS and follow my girl on her iPhone.
Yeah.
So back then it was a lot more. It was different, and a lot of the work was cheating spouses, and then the other part of the work was like insurance frauds, people faking injuries, people collecting large sums of money, from a lawsuit, like they had a hurt leg or they had a hurt back, and then, the insurance company would hire us like a year or two later, go check on this guy, see how he's doing, or check on this woman, see how they're doing. And I got them on video doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I remember 2005, which was an awesome one to describe. A guy walked away with a lot of money, moved to Central Florida in Arcadia, which is like in the middle of nowhere in Florida. And it was right after the hurricanes, which was a perfect time. The insurance companies knew that there was a lot of damage in this area, that if this guy has a back problem, he shouldn't be trying to fix his home. And I got him on ladders on top of his roofs, doing repairs to his own home.
So the insurance company was medical fraud, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So he claimed that he had back injuries, got lump sums from some sort of injuries, and you guys were the company they hired to go see if he was actually hurt.
Right. Exactly. So this is a man claiming that he can't even get out of a wheelchair, that he has to walk with a cane in his house. And yet I got him, lifting plywood, lifting tools, going up ladders, lifting up 5-gallon buckets. God knows what was in the buckets. Just doing a lot of things that he's claiming he can't do.
Yeah.
So those are fun. Being a childhood fisherman, you get the same feeling when you're sitting there for hours or even days, and then you finally see something, and then you got it on film. And we're talking, back then
that's that big fish on the hook, right?
It's the big fish on the hook.
That's the big fish on the hook.
The feeling in the heart, like
you're pumping. He's like, wait a minute, he's walking. Wait a minute.
Exactly.
I can only imagine. You know what this makes me think? Because a lot of these people that are listening to this show are fitness enthusiasts. We're going to hire your dad's company and you, and you're going around and seeing who's cheating and actually doing their workouts. That's what we need to do.
I mean, and that happens a lot too. When we were doing a lot of the cheating spouses, at the time, and probably still today, you had to have some type of money to hire us, because, my dad was a big wig back then.
Yeah.
And, when you're hiring my father and he would send me out there, you're not talking about a person that makes an average household income to hire us. So basically we're dealing with people with a lot of money when usually the husband was out working a lot. And the woman's job was to stay home and help with the kids. And they're not with the kids. They're dropping off the kids, and then they're going to the mall. And then you see them meeting a guy at the mall, and that happened a lot. And don't get me wrong, men were cheating too a lot, a lot of men were cheating. And I saw it all. And it made me lose a lot of faith in the word love, because I saw so much of it.
Yeah. So during this career undercover investigation things, you're still dealing with the addiction at the time. Do you realize you're addicted? Are you drinking on the job while you're sitting in the car waiting?
No, not at all. My dad would kill me. But let me tell you something. There was a lot of times I would like manipulate the situation to make me get out of there so I can go to the bar. Because like for me, the kind of drunk I was in the beginning was a nightclub drunk.
Yeah.
Was a party drunk as far as like I want to go to the bars. You know, it's Friday night. You know, I got these girls waiting for me. You know, I got my homies waiting for me. Like, I'm still on his case. You know, like, Dad, nothing's going on. The guy's not even here. Just send me home so I can go party. I mean, that happened.
So at that time, what, you're 23, 24, 25?
Yeah, exactly.
And that most people would look at that as just, okay, this a guy in his mid-20s just having fun on the weekends, right?
You know, and it's all fun, you know, and there's a saying that I say, it's like, just because you make it to work every day doesn't mean you don't have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it was a problem. For me, you know, when I wake up in the morning and I'm getting phone calls and voice messages from friends that are saying, dude, stay away from me. Don't you ever come to my house again, you know, or stay away from my wife. And I don't even know what happened because I blacked out, you know, and there was times I would wake up in my car, you know, with daylight out, not knowing how I got there, in somebody's front yard, puke all over my dashboard, puke all over the windows, and not even knowing how I got there.
Yeah.
And thank God that my car was still intact, that I didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah. Wow, that's
So that's the problem right there with me. Like, I knew that there was a problem. And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you're in denial. I was not in denial. I was in refusal, meaning like, I know I have a problem. This is just how it is. And there was days that I would do like crazy stuff, like, you know, wake up in a random parking lot, not knowing how I got there, 8 miles away from the bar.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, I can never do this again. And I would cry, you know, and I would not do it again for maybe 10 days. And then all of a sudden my phone's ringing, yo, Corey, we got bottles, man. You going to come meet us? And then the cycle would start again.
Yeah. So did it ever, outside of just trying to cut off a case early, did it ever interfere your job where you didn't show up to work?
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. As much as I love my dad, for the longest time, my dad would just pay my bills. Yeah. You know, I was the hoe, he was the pimp. How much is your rent? Here's a check. How much is your car payment? Here's a check. And I was like, Dad, why do you do this to me, man? Why do you control me with my money? He goes, because if I give you all the money I owe you, you'll get fucking drunk with it.
So he knew.
Oh, yeah, he knew. Yeah, there was a lot of times that I didn't show up, or I let him down, you know? And listen, my dad fired me every Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he'd fire me, and then he'd call me up Wednesday, where the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, it was definitely a problem. I knew it was a problem. I just didn't have any hope. I didn't know that there was another way. And like I said, like I did the whole foxhole prayer, like, oh my God, I'm never going to do this again. I'm so sorry. God, get me out of this pickle. And then the phone would ring. Hey, Corey, we're going to go drinking. Or, yo, Corey, we got a bunch of bottles, man. You going to come meet us? You know? Or I'd be like, dude, I don't have any money. Oh, don't worry. Just show up. We got you.
So was it more of the people you surrounded yourself encouraging you? Or was it like I'll use your term, the foxhole apology, where a lot of people in their college years would say, oh, that was just me in my 20s on the weekends only, and then I'm fine on Monday. Friday night, I'll start all over again. But was it more of a, okay, they keep pulling me in, and that's something that I want, so I'm just going to go?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I was getting really dangerous. I was getting really violent. I was starting fights. I knew in my heart I shouldn't be drinking. I shouldn't be doing this to myself. Was there peer pressure? Yes, because, you know, when you're hanging out with if you're hanging out with the same 20 people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, mm-hmm. then how do you know you really have a problem? You know, like if I hang out with a bunch of people that go to the gym all the time, it's not really a problem because we're all going to the gym all the time. If I hang out with a bunch of people at Dunkin' Donuts all the time, we're all eating donuts, it's not really a problem.
Yeah.
And it basically was the same thing. Like I was hanging out with the same 20 people. So how is it a problem? But in my heart, as the time went on and the consequences kept on happening, like I knew, okay, there's something wrong. I got to get help. I got to get help.
So take us to that point. When, and where were you when you decided to get help for the first time?
Well, I had just moved in with my sister, and I had been bartending. I got out of working for my dad, and I got a job at the age of 26 bartending in downtown Hollywood. And I went from only drinking on the weekends to only drinking on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because I started working Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I promised myself, okay, I'm not going to drink during the week. But then I started picking up more shifts, and I started drinking on those shifts. And it got to the point where sometimes, the owner would be like, Corey, you need to loosen up. Go grab yourself a glass. Have a shot with me, And that's when it really started escalating, is when I started bartending. It was just a way of life. I would show up to work, open up the bar, pour myself a bourbon, and that's when it would, that's when it really started. And then, of course, a lot of my peers who were bartenders around the surrounding area, when we closed the bar at 4 a.m., we would go to the next bar and stay there till like 8, 9 a.m., and it just became a cycle. So when I got help at that point, I had moved in with my sister, who had 4 months clean at the time, and the disease of addiction does run in my family. So I remember my sister saying, you need help if you're going to live here with me, because I ended up having to move in with my sister because things got that bad. She's like, you need to start going to some meetings. And at that point, I went ahead and I started going to a 12-step fellowship with my sister. And that's when I started getting a little bit better.
And I know that that a lot of people yo-yo during their first time or a couple of times starting a program like that. Is that where you, because you're a bartender at 26, you're bartending, you're moving in with your sister, you lived with your uncle through high school,
right?
Your dad took you in,
yep.
After the military didn't work out,
right?
Which at that time anyone would relate to you, because you put all your effort in one basket and it didn't work out. Now what? 20 years old, you don't know what to do next. So you get the opportunity with your dad and stuff. You're around the wrong crowd. Now your sister's getting clean herself.
Right.
But the problem is she's clean. She's helping you out live there, but you're still working at a bar that encourages you to relax with an alcohol beverage.
Right. And you know what? When I did go ahead and make the decision to clean up my act, when I moved in with my sister, I actually was able to stay clean for almost the whole time. I was able to stay clean for 17 months until I relapsed under her roof, and that's when she kicked me out. But, the desire was so strong at that point, like it was happening. My sister was gung-ho. She was doing her thing. She was cleaning up her life. Now, the thing is, a lot of people that don't know my sister was really bad. My sister, they called her the Heineken Queen. My sister was snorting pills. My sister was doing a lot of hardcore drugs. And, me, I was just a drinker who smoked weed a couple times. And when I saw that my sister was being a good girl and cleaning up her act, like I knew that there was a way out, that there was a good way for me to stay clean. And, there's a lot of 12-step fellowships out there. And I just started going to meetings and making it a priority to stop hanging out with people at the bar and just go to meetings. And, here's the thing. Even to this day, I'm still in the bar industry and I'm still clean. I'm working on 9 years clean right now. And this is what I do. And this is what I did at the beginning is I clock in, I smile, and I go the fuck home.
Yep.
Because that was mentioned to me in the beginning and I didn't take that suggestion. And that's when I really start to fly off the handle.
And that's after your first episode of being clean for 17 months?
Yep.
Because you didn't take that serious when they said just clock in, smile, treat it as inventory, and then move on with your day?
Right. I really didn't take it that serious. I mean, in the beginning I did. The first several months I took it serious. and was able to do it. You know, I just had this strong desire. But then, you know, I'm not saying relapse can be a part of anybody else's story that goes through this, but it was a part of my story. I just got really comfortable doing things my way and not the things that was suggested to me.
Yeah.
You know, no different than like if you don't take your personal trainer suggestions and you're working out with them, but you're eating what you want to eat, you're really not going to show results. And the same thing was happening for me in the beginning of my recovery. I was just doing what Corey wanted to do. I was tweaking at it rather than taking the full suggestions.
Yeah, there's a lot of different analogies that you can go with that with where they're there, and then as soon as they're not with the people that are positive, they go back to their old habits, whether it's alcohol, whether it's food, whether it's physical activity, whether it's kids doing their homework. Okay, they do their homework when their parents are sitting right there with them, right. And then as soon as their parents, they're back on their phones.
Right, exactly.
So because that's another addiction that's new to this world is all these smartphones, addiction with kids, and video games were a big thing. I know for people addiction. Now there's actually people with those addictions, and so my question to you is, what are the things that you have to mentally do to keep yourself from not jumping on any of those triggers when you're working in the bar still?
Well, I mean, right now what I do is, like I said, I clock in. I don't hang out with anybody after work. I don't hang out with any of the patrons. I don't hang out with any of the staff. Like, I used to get jealous with other bartenders that I worked with that would just go home. I'm like, they would make the $300 and go home with it. I would make my $300 and go home with 50 because I'm going out afterwards, blowing it all and over tipping to show off and drinking it all.
Yeah.
So now I'm the opposite. Now I'm the guy where everybody's going out after work and I'm going home with my money.
Yeah. And how's that feeling?
Oh, it's great because I like putting money away. It's a good feeling to put money away.
So so after your first 17 months clean, your sister kicked you out. What happened there?
Well, I went ahead and I stopped. I started going to places I didn't belong in. You know, like, it's one thing to work in a restaurant because, I mean, alcohol is going to be everywhere. I could be a roofer, okay? And, you know, I got coworkers with me on top of the roof drinking their beer, you know? Mm-hmm. And this is what I tell people. I go, if I was a baker for 30 years and I'm baking cakes and my doctor turns and tells me, hey, listen, if you continue eating these cookies and cakes, you're going to get diabetes and you're going to die. I've been a baker for 30 years. What am I supposed to do? Just stop baking? No, I got to stop eating the cookies and cakes. So, you know, that's the analogy I use a lot. And so I forgot. I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with this?
Yeah, just after the first 17.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I started going to places I didn't belong. I started going to strip clubs. I started hanging out with people that were drinking all the time. And
was it because you just wanted to socialize and wanted to reconnect with people?
That's exactly
and thought you were good to handle it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It's like, you know what? I'm good now. I'm looking healthy. I lost my beer gut. Let me go show how good I look to all my friends who are drinking. And after a while, it's like that water at the strip club that you're drinking, that bottle of water, you know, it doesn't taste so good. And I remember the strippers saying to me, you know, why aren't you drinking? I'm like, well, I'm in recovery. And they would be like, then what are you doing here? So, like, even they knew that, like, maybe I shouldn't be there. I shouldn't be there. And
those are the strippers that are in law school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or the ones that are buying real estate, really doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. Exactly. And, you know, I fell off the wagon. My sister, who was clean, was like, listen, you know, I'm glad that you want to try to get clean again, but you can't live here. She kicked me out.
So she only gave you one shot.
She gave me one shot. And then for 9 months, I went on a binge drinking, big time.
Okay, so you're at what age now, 28, 29?
No, I mean, let me see.
26, you started bartending in
Hollywood. I'm 28, 29. You're exactly right.
Yeah. So what snapped you back out of it then?
Well, I went ahead and I got into some trouble. Where basically, to make a long story short, you know, I was hanging out with this individual, and we were dancing, we were singing, we were watching TV, and then the next minute, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, that person was gone, and there was blood all over the walls. And it scared the shit out of me. And I don't know what I did. I kind of don't know what I did to this day. I just know I did it. And the cops showed up. And the only reason why I know the cops showed up is because a week later, my landlord said, "Why were the cops here last week?" And I went ahead and I looked online and I saw I had a battery charge, and it scared the shit out of me. And I went ahead and I went to a 12-step meeting, and I picked up a weight, and I've been clean since. You know, and that really scared me because here's the thing, like, I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person.
Yeah.
But when I drink, I don't know what can happen, and anything can happen. I could be that guy, and I think about it all the time, that's capable of killing a family of 5 and not knowing it until the next day because I woke up and I see that my car is demolished.
Yeah.
Like, that's how bad of a drinker I am. I can take on the United States Army with a butter knife when I drink.
Yeah, so that experience has kept you motivated to this day.
Oh yeah, definitely. As far as never wanting to do it again.
Yeah.
So
has there been anything mentally where you're like, man, just it's not worth it. Might as well just go back to the old habits. Is there anything?
Oh yeah, every day.
Yeah, every day.
Every day, because
every day
it's with me. It's in my head. You know, it wants to make me alone to where I go ahead and I pick up another drink. And I mean, it could be the stupidest thing. Like, I was telling my girlfriend Kristen, who you know, we were jogging, waiting for you to come train us.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, she sprints in front of me because she's a lot faster than me.
Yeah.
And she can go longer than me. And my mind's like, you know what? Why do I even do this anymore? I'm not good. You know. I can't keep up with it.
So it's a daily battle.
Oh my God, it's a daily battle.
It's a daily battle.
It's a daily battle.
So anyone that might feel like they're addicted to something or knows someone, what do you tell someone that's going through those undecisive moments?
Well, I tell people that, you know, if you think you have a friend or a family member that's going through that, definitely reach out to them. Try to get them some counseling. There's helpline numbers. You know, don't just ignore it thinking like, oh, just, you know, they're just going through a phase. Like, you know, your heart will tell you. You know, God speaks to us through our gut. You know, if just like I used to tell people, if you're hiring us as for your private investigators because you think your wife is cheating, if you're putting up that type of money, you feel it in your gut, your wife is cheating.
Yeah.
Very rarely was somebody wrong. And that was just because they were alluding to it. So it's the same thing. If you feel in your gut that your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad has a problem, that you're willing to go get it, they probably have a problem.
Yeah.
You know? And like I said, there's 12-step fellowships. You know, there's 800 helpline numbers. I mean, and if you're listening to this and you really need help, you can call Jason, and Jason will call me, and I'll definitely get on the phone with you. But there's definitely help out there, you know.
Yeah, and there's a brighter side to this story because I know you through the end part to this point of your transformation on your weight loss journey, and I don't want to spill the beans. I want to let you to share that. But once you started picking up a weight, some things started happening with your body that are pretty amazing.
So I'll get into that. You know, like, okay, so Corey's clean. I'm working on 9 years clean. You know, January 20th, 2012. That's my clean date. So, you know, January 20th, I'll have 9 years. So basically, here's what happened with me as far as physically. I loved working out when I was drinking, but I was working out for the wrong reasons. I was working out because I wanted to get the hottest girls in the bar, the hottest girls in the nightclub, and the gym that I was going to had all the bartenders and all the strippers. Yeah. So like I wanted to get close to hanging out with the bartenders or hanging out with the strippers. So I went to the gym for the wrong reasons. Corey did not go to the gym to be a better Corey. I went on to the gym because I wanting to be the biggest and baddest, and I wanted to look sexy.
You were a bro. And you wanted to be a bro.
I wanted to be a bro, and I wanted to be, oh yeah, I know so-and-so, he owns that bar. Oh yeah, I know so-and-so, she works at that club, Like, I was going for those reasons, really immature reasons. And so those reasons made me not last, physically for my goals. So when I went ahead and I got clean, there's this saying that we have, I put down the spoon and picked up a fork, or, basically I put one addiction down and picked up another one, and I started eating excessively. And, and a lot of people know that when you go to these 12-step meetings, they all end in going to the diners. They all end in going to restaurants. So when you're going to 3 or 4 meetings a week, guess what? You're going to 3 or 4 restaurants a week, and what we can do as individuals when we go to restaurants. I'm the type of person, I'm all or nothing. Well, I already had a pasta dinner. I might as well get a chocolate cake. I'm already here.
Yeah.
I deserve it. I had a good day at work. Just like I used to tell myself I had a good day at work, I might as well have a scotch. So now I'm putting on all this weight, and I've been telling myself for years, I need to lose this weight. I need to get rid of this weight. And I just couldn't find the motivation to do it. I've been paying for a gym membership this whole entire time.
Never gone.
And I never went. And then I would go to the gym for maybe about a month, and I would go maybe 3 days a week, and just do the Stairmaster or just do the treadmill, just try to do some cardio, pick up some dumbbells, feel good, but then I would stop going. Yeah. Sometimes I would get the results, which was like maybe 10 or 12 pounds, and then stop going. I would go ahead and be like, oh, it's time to eat some chicken wings now. I deserve it. I lost all this weight.
Yeah.
And I kept on getting the same results, which was insanity, which was no results. I kept on looking the same. The yo-yo. So I lost 60 pounds this year. And that's another reason why
60.
And that's another
60,
reason. Yeah. Oh, wow.
This year, through all the craziness that the world has been going through, you and all the easy triggers for the addiction people out there to go the opposite direction, you chose to find another trigger with the dumbbells.
Yeah. So like I put on a lot of weight. I was about 225, 230. And I'm 5'9", so I mean, it basically looked like I had a beer belly, and I haven't had a beer in so long.
Yeah. And
I looked really obese. I didn't like the way I look. I never was in pictures. I didn't want to be in pictures because I just didn't like the way I look. And I mean, I'm at the time I'm 37, 36, and I'm still dressing like a thug with the baggy clothes. And it's not because I'm a thug. It's because I'm trying to hide the fat.
Yeah.
And I was telling Kristen this the other day, my girlfriend, she finally met my father for the first time. And I told her the last time I was supposed to see my dad was 16 months ago. And the reason why I didn't see him is because he goes, you're not going to dress like a thug kid when you come over here, are you? And I turned my car around and I went home. And the reality is I just didn't have clothes that fit me because I didn't like the way I looked.
Yeah.
And so it's been 16 months until I saw my dad, and my dad couldn't recognize me. And the way that journey started was I hated the way I looked. I was getting really depressed. And just because I put the drugs down, the alcohol down, doesn't mean that I'm getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I got other things to work on. Just because I put that glass down, it doesn't mean I'm still the same person until I do work on myself. And I started getting really depressed to where I was sleeping 12, 14-hour days.
And are those things that the meetings help with? Is okay, stopping for a day is doable for almost everyone. And is it them teaching everyone that you have to fix the things that need to be fixed? You're not going to get fixed until you work on getting fixed. Are those the things that you guys discuss in these meetings that really put people like you over the top and find a better way?
Yes. I mean, like, here's the thing. Just like I had to get a personal trainer, you have to get a sponsor. And a lot of people have heard that from TV or whatnot, and that person helps you, and like I said, it's a 12-step fellowship. And like I was talking to you before the podcast, yeah. I'm not going to say which one, but you're more than welcome to reach out to Jason, who will reach out to me, and we'll talk. But basically, there's 12 steps, and you work those 12 steps with somebody who has experience working the 12 steps, and and hopefully you find a better you. And we talk about not using one day at a time or not, drinking a day at a time. And we talk about that one day.
Yeah.
No different than like, okay, I worked out today. I'm not going to blow it with a cheeseburger later. It's got to get through the day because I still want to have my six pack. It's almost like the same concept.
Yep.
But the thing is that we're human. And I told you that in the beginning of the podcast that this disease of addiction is progressive. And that means it's progressive whether I'm drinking or whether I'm not, because it's the battle of the mind.
Yeah.
And so it attacks me all the time. But like I said, there's help. I'm only working on 9 years clean. And I know people with 50 years clean. I know people with 25 years clean. I know people with 20 years clean, 13 years clean. And not all these people are old, Like the person that sponsors me is actually 11 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's people who are getting clean at all ages. There is a way, but like I said, it was tackling me to where I kept on picking up food and sleeping in. And I just didn't like the way I looked anymore. And so can we get to that part?
Yeah, let's go. This is the time to go, man.
This is the time to go.
This is the bread and butter right here.
Okay, so basically, I did not like the way I look. I was paying for a membership. I was not going. I know how to work out. I know how to put some, dumbbells up. I know how to put some barbell weights up on a hammer strength machine and push it. I know all that stuff. I know the basics. We're going to do 3 sets, 10 reps. I know the basics. I know how to do a push-up. I know how to do a sit-up. Problem is I just wasn't doing it. Mm-hmm. And I was putting it off. I'll do it later, And then I would walk to the gym. I would get to the gym. And then I would see everybody looking better than me. All the machines are taken. Fuck this, man. I don't belong here. Let me just go home. And I would walk out. So now we're talking about the summer of last year. So we're talking about what? Maybe 14, 15 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm working at my bar and I see this guy with a sweater on. I really don't know what he looks like. I just know he's in better shape than me. And he takes the salad out of the taco bowl. The salads that we have at my job are in a taco shell. Yeah. And I'm busting his balls. I'm like, bro, why are you taking the greens out of that, man? That's the best part, the fried shell. And he's like, oh, man, I got a competition, So it really doesn't hit me. And he pays his bill and he leaves. And 2 weeks later, he's there with his girlfriend now. And he doesn't have a shirt on because we're on the beach. And he goes, yo, you remember me? I'm the guy who took the salad out of the bowl. He's like, I won first place. And he has his shirt off and he strikes a pose. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, dude, you look amazing, bro. And one thing that we forgot to talk about on this podcast is I'm also a photographer.
No, I didn't forget. I'm bringing that up. No worries there.
So I went ahead and I said, yo, let me get your Instagram information because I would like to photograph you one day. And as I'm watching his stories through that first week of becoming his friend on Instagram, I see that he's training these women that are really obese and they're doing it at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And I'm like, these women are in worse shape than me. That's what my mind, I'm just telling you what my mind is telling me.
Yeah.
And they're doing it at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, what the hell is my excuse? So I reached out to him. He told me his prices. And I'm like, you know what, Corey? You can go ahead and buy all these Jordans because I own a lot of shoes. Yeah. You can go ahead and you can buy all this camera equipment. But what's the point of having all that if you don't have your health? Like, you need to invest in a trainer. So I just gave him money. I was like, you know what, here's the money. Let's do it. And I started working out with him. And I didn't like it the first couple of days. The first day I thought I almost did throw up. Yeah. I almost threw up. And we were doing really simple things. We were doing ply-lows.
It's a lot of people, how I explain it is it's a lot of anxiety. It's self-doubt. Oh, yeah. When you come in, intimidation factor with a trainer like that, so defined, just winning first place. I mean, you're seeing all the pushing he's doing with these other ladies that have been with him for weeks and months at a time. So it's always the basic workouts that put people over the top at the beginning. And that's a very normal thing. It's 9 out of 10 people that feel that way.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't want to be there at all. I had the self-doubt, and I felt like I was going to vomit. And I mean, I got videos of me, and thank God, and I encourage everybody to take videos. When people are posting videos of themselves on social networking or taking pictures, like, I don't hate on them because now I can look back. I could look back. You might thought I was a goofball, or a douche in the beginning, but now guess what? I have stuff to look back on.
Yep.
And I look back on it, I'm like, man, I couldn't even do those step-ups without losing my breath.
You know what it is? Your Kristen, your girlfriend, and you do that all the time.
Right.
But I've told people in the past, those videos are just written journals.
Yeah.
What people used to do and write down how their day went in a journal is what a video is nowadays. So those little clips of your fitness journey from before and after, and I know you're about to tell us that you hated those videos at the beginning that he took of you, or you already know. You were like, no, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, he took the videos of me with his phone. He would send it to me on IG, and I didn't post them.
Yep.
I didn't post them until like the first, like after like 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I started seeing the weight drop, And here's the thing. I was just talking to a friend today. Like, I need a trainer. And a lot of my personal trainers that I've had personal trainers.
Yep.
And the 12-step fellowships that we attend, a sponsor has a sponsor who has a sponsor. And I've learned it's the same thing because I know a lot of personal trainers that have personal trainers just to keep them on, edge. Because here's the thing. I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm comfortable doing it.
Yep.
But the minute, I got Jason or another trainer telling me to do it, like, I got to do it with more might, and I got to finish it, and I got to make it look good. And otherwise, I'm going to keep doing the same exercises, which is really not going to get me anywhere. And I've realized and I've learned that switching the exercises up, it's not just about being fun, but like I'm using different muscles. Even though it's the same muscle group, I'm using different muscles.
Yeah.
I can't think of any exercises off my head. I'm probably sure you can. But, that's why I need a personal trainer. I need somebody to push me, And so this guy was pushing me. He was a college, not NFL. He was a college football player.
Yeah.
He played 4 years at 2 different schools. And, I mean, the guy was really athletic. And I was meeting with him at the beginning for only 3 days a week because that's all I wanted to do. I figured, you know what? I'm just going to give him 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And then I started really liking the way I felt. And I started liking the way I looked. And I started going 5 days a week. And the days that I wasn't going to him, I made sure that I was walking. And I'm not talking about just walking. I'm talking about walking. And I was taught because I remember I had this conversation with my trainer. I had an Apple Watch on. He goes, you know what, Corey, I can't afford an Apple Watch. But I know one thing, that if I'm walking and I'm thinking and I'm talking to myself, I'm not walking fast enough because my heart rate is not up.
Yep.
And when he said that, I got goosebumps. And I just got goosebumps again because when I'm walking and I'm thinking about, I can't stand my job, or my girlfriend's pissing me off, or I hate my trainer, I'm not walking fast enough. My heart rate's not up.
Yep. It's not elevated. If you're not elevated, you're not changing nothing.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. That's right on point. I'm going to steal that from him too. But does this become your new addiction now?
Yeah.
You're about based on your storyline, we'll just keep people on track. You're about 9-10 weeks with the trainer now.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say addiction.
Yeah.
You know what I've learned in life? That it's not an obsession. It's not an addiction. It is what's the word I'm looking for? It is my,
maybe habits.
No, not even habit.
No?
I had the word on my tongue and I already forgot. I'm getting nervous.
Yeah. You're worried about that workout we're about to do.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's there's a word for it. I can't think of it, but it's definitely not an addiction. I don't want to say it's an addiction. It's definitely a healthy habit.
Lifestyle.
It's definitely a lifestyle change.
You've definitely changed your lifestyle.
Yeah.
The small amount of time I've known you, that you live a lifestyle. You don't live an addiction towards your fitness stuff. It's a lifestyle that you choose to live.
No, 100%. I have to change my lifestyle because the lifestyle I was doing was going to get me diabetes. Diabetes runs in the family.
Yep.
My father's got diabetes. My mom's got diabetes. My grandpa had diabetes, and I don't want to have diabetes. I've talked to people that have diabetes and they told me, Without insurance, you're looking at least $600 a month for diabetes medication.
And it's 12 pills. Usually once you're diabetic, it's 12 pills a day. And then those people that actually can fix that and flip it, that are once you're a diabetic, you're always diabetic. So when you get back to that point where you're non-diabetic and you're still taking 3 pills a day. So you're going to have pills the rest of your life if that hits you. So that's another motivation for you.
Yeah, and I didn't want to live that way. So, it's definitely a lifestyle change. But here's the kicker. I have learned, and I told people this, that when I work out today, it's not because I want to really look better. It's to get myself out of my head. Yeah. Because especially with a trainer that's pushing me, I don't have time to think. I don't have the time to think about my shitty day. I don't have time to think about this bill that needs to get paid. I don't have time to think about my dog just having surgery. When Jason or another trainer is like yelling at me or just pushing me, my job at that moment is to think about, okay, I got to do 2 more. I got to do 2 more. I got to do 2 more. And before I know it, an hour's gone by and I didn't have to think those thoughts, Yeah. And the thing is that like when I was drinking to get rid of the feelings I had at that moment, and now I don't have time to think about that moment because I'm too busy working. I'm too busy getting it in. And then the outcome is I start looking better a day at a time, and
which builds up your confidence, which allows you to do other things like your photography, which we haven't talked about and you've been doing for years.
Right.
And now turn it in more of a hobby for you, something that you truly enjoy. And it went from doing photos with people to now just Mother Nature in its own way. And so that's another thing that's kept you on track through this time too. That other things have gotten a little busier for you, so you haven't been able to do as much, but you're still involved in it.
Yeah, and the thing is like I really haven't touched my camera since I started working out, and I'm okay with that because even when I was lifting up my camera and walking around with it, going after animals, I would start feeling it in my neck. I would start feeling it in my back. I would start getting out of breath. I couldn't even hold a camera. And like when I was doing photography with models and I was doing weddings and stuff, I'm like, man, these people look so good, and I just didn't feel confident about myself. Like today, I can go to the mall and go shopping and buy clothes that are going to fit. I just donated a bunch of my clothes because, they didn't fit me anymore. And that's a good feeling.
Yep.
The shirt that I'm wearing right now is a little bit too big on me. And you want to know what? You see this shirt right here? I'm wearing this shirt and I bought it and I yelled at the guy that sent it to me because when I got it, I was overweight. I was 220. And I was like, I don't like your material because it shows my gut. I can't wear a shirt like this because it shows my gut. And you know what he said to me? He's like, why don't you lose weight? And so now the shirt that I bought when I was fat fits me and now it's too big. And it's a medium.
Yeah, and it's a medium. And it says spiritual on it for those audio. And it has a bird on the side of it, which he loves shooting birds on his photography. So there's a lot of universe happening here, just full circle aspect of things here. So it seems, so let's dive into the workouts today.
Yes.
What is it? What do you enjoy? You like the trainer aspect of things. You have a few coaches. You got Drew's Boot Camp.
Yes.
That's been on the show. We got to give credit to your trainer that got you going and dumping a salad right out in front of you. Props to him. You can give him a shout out.
His name is Irving Steele. You can find him on Instagram. Irving Steele. That guy helped change my life.
Yeah. So he was he was a big lesson, I think, for you based on what you've told me on the basics when it comes to the weight training but overkill on the nutrition. I think based on the stuff you told me, I mean, it was just nutrients, macronutrients, understanding why you eat this, when you eat this. Right. I think that was because now you have more disciplines with not just these workouts. You're not just lifting dumbbells and then going back to your old eating habits and going to the diner and having cake again and stuff. I can't have that now. It's time. I'm going to waste my whole workout. Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's all about the eating. Like I do go to diners now, but you know what I'm doing? I'm ordering egg whites with spinach in it.
Hey, and I always tell people you can't outwork a bad diet. I don't know how. I mean, unless you're 16 years old, or playing college sports, you can't outwork a bad diet.
Right. And like, if I'm going to go out to those places, I make sure to order something clean. Let me get a small bowl of oatmeal with some egg whites and some spinach and some tomatoes, and that's it. Instead of eating the 4 slices of French toast, the 2 sausage links, 2 bacon, the muffin, and then, of course, now we're still here. Now I got to have the dessert.
Yeah.
And I would eat that regularly, that type of food in that type of quantity.
Yeah.
Every day, all the time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working for me,
So now you're focused on what you're eating, why you're eating it, when you're eating it. The workouts have to happen. And let's be clear, because I do train you a few times a week now.
Right.
You and your girlfriend aren't always just gym rats. So let's not let the audience know that you're just gym rats. You enjoy bike riding. Kristen enjoys rollerblading sometimes when you guys first started dating. So there's other activities that don't have to involve a gym if a gym isn't right for you at the moment.
Right.
So,
and you know what? That's why I just started doing spinning. The gym has a spinning class. I'm going to tell you right now, I used to walk by
and laugh
at these little boot camp classes, at these little like GT classes. Those classes where you see people that are 50 and older in, and they're on the little like step machines.
Yes.
And they're on I used to like laugh at
step
that.
aerobics. Yeah.
And you know what's happening now? I'm walking out of that room sweating, and I'm looking at everybody on their cell phones, texting and talking to each other with not one bit of sweat.
Yep.
And so now I feel that I'm getting it. Now I know I'm getting it because I got the sweat to prove it. So today I did a spinning class, and I'm doing a lot of things I really don't want to do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about life, because in life shows up. There's a lot of things we don't want to do, but we have to do. And I feel that if I get that little victory a day of completing the gym, completing the workout with a trainer, completing the spinning class, it gives me that one V a day, that one victory. And today I got it. I didn't want to wake up today. Today's my day off from work. I figured, you know what? I'm not going to go to the class, even though I participated to sign up for it. I'm just going to sleep in. And I was like, you know what? I know I'm not going to fall back asleep. Let me just go to the class.
So that's another thing. Off the camera, you told me your morning habits now.
Yeah.
Because you do still work in the bar, you still have to work late. You have to really try hard to get up in the morning. When you're getting home at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think this is a big lesson. We've talked about this in the show before, of habits and constantly maintaining habits no matter what the circumstance is and how rough it might be. You have to make it happen. So tell me how you wake up.
Okay, so I go to bed at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And the classes that I've been taking are about 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. So this is what I do. My alarm on my iPhone has I got 8 alarms set for 7 a.m., 7:01 a.m., 7:02 a.m., etc. And I put the phone across the room, so I can't just grab it while I'm laying in bed and turn it off. I have to physically get up and go get the phone. The night before, I make coffee. That coffee is sitting in the refrigerator. It's black coffee. Okay? So I wake up, run to the phone, turn it off, grab the coffee, chug half of it, run to the shower. Because if I think for a minute in between, I'll psych myself up and go back and lay down. I will tell myself, you know what, Corey? You did good yesterday. You need to relax. And I can't do that. Not for me, not for my goals, and not for my headspace. Because every day that I miss the gym, I end up paying for it. There's just different exercises I could do. Because remember, I'm not really working out to look better. I'm working out for this thing up here.
Yeah,
that
mentally.
1 hour. Yeah, because my mind starts attacking me. Remember, I got the disease of addiction. I got some mental illness to where if I'll lay in the bed and not fall back asleep, and the voices start talking to me where it's like, you're not good enough. You're horrible. I can't believe you missed the gym. You should have just went. And all I had to do was go. So like today was my off day for muscles other than, working with the weights. So I just did a spinning class. And I feel great.
You felt great. You were productive after. You didn't just go home and sit down, I'm sure.
Right. And I told Kristen, there's no way in hell I can go on a healthy podcast without working out that day.
Yeah, right. And I appreciate that. And I thank everyone that's listening to this that's working out right now, because I know a lot of people are walking, jogging. or on their way to the gym and getting pumped up. So it's a long pre-workout podcast for you. But so your morning habits have helped you through this process. You've lost 60 pounds in what, 14, 15 months?
I actually lost the 60 pounds in the first 4 months.
In the first 4 months.
In the first 4 months. And I didn't do anything with a pill. The only thing I did was walk around with a gallon of water. No matter where I was, there was a gallon of water in my hand. I ate clean, and I did what the trainer told me to do.
Yeah, so I think there's a big lesson in that, and for anyone right there is you have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable again in your new habits. I think that's a big lesson for everyone. And to change something, a lot of things have to change before something comes normal. I tell everyone, you can have normal meals again. They just can't happen right now until you get your goal, or start your goal at least. And stuff. When people talk about their cheat days and things like that, well, we've been cheating for 30 years now. So let's take a few years of actually trying to do a change your habits. And no matter what we're talking about, I think everyone can relate to that, where it's not easy to change. Even if the change is good, it's never easy to change. Everyone likes staying in their comfort zone. It's easy for just to maintain your routine, complain about the things you want to complain about, and not do nothing about it. And you're a perfect example of that, of really just swallowing your own pill and actually getting something done where you don't have any regrets now. You have learning lessons, but you don't have any regrets.
Right. And
I think that's the biggest thing we can take away from this show, man. So thanks for being on the show, man. Thanks for sharing your story.
Not a problem.
So if anyone is having issues with addiction or having issues getting started with their programs, share this episode with them and let them know that there's more people like them and more people out there willing to help you, especially through this crazy pandemic right now. Thanks again, man. Appreciate it, Corey.
You got it.
We'll talk to you later, people. Peace.